Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Alhamdulillahi Rabbil Alameen. Sallallahu ala Sayyidina Muhammadin wa ala alihi wa sahbihi ajma'in. Allahumma allimna ma yanfa'una wa anfa'na bima 'allamtana wa zidna ilman wa ikhlasan wa tawfiqan ya akram al-akramin. Rabbi shrah li sadri wa yassir li amri wa hlul 'uqdatan min lisani yafqahu qawli. Nawaitu ta'allum wa ta'lim wa tadhakkar tazkiyah. نفع الانتفاع والإفادة والاستفادة والحسنة تمسك بكتاب الله وسنة رسوله صلى الله عليه وسلم دعاء إلى الهدى إلى الخير ابتغاء وجه الله ومرضاتي وقربي وثوابي سبحانه وتعالى. There's a famous statement attributed to Imam Malik, the famous Malik of the Maliki school. It's mentioned in the book Qawaid al-Tasawwuf, famous book written by the Andalusian scholar Sidi Ahmad Zarruq, and he attributes it back to him, where he mentions in that statement of his, Man tafaqaha wa lam yatasawwaf faqad tafassaqa. Whoever learns fiqh and doesn't learn the science of purification, tazkiyah, okay, he becomes, he basically goes astray. Okay, then he mentions man tasawwafa wa lam yatafaqqah faqad tasandaqa. Whoever learns tasawwuf and doesn't learn fiqh, he's also gone astray. وَمَنْ جَمَعَ بَيْنَهُمَا فَقَدْ تَحَقَّقَ. The one who combines between tasawwuf and fiqh, he's the one that is guided, and he's attained his goal he has, haqiqah, haqq. Why is that? Because both things are just as important. The Prophet ﷺ came with the outward and he came with the inward as well. And if you focus on one thing without the other thing, you're going to go astray. People who learn knowledge and they only focus on that at the expense of purifying their hearts, making sure they have good character, taking out these sicknesses such as arrogance, pride, ostentation, jealousy, envy, loving the dunya, you're going to go astray. And likewise, people who focus on the tasawwuf at the expense of learning the minimum, the basics, they're also going astray as well. Now, this is in no way trying to say a person's not supposed to be doing fiqh or a lot of it, and is also not trying to say that a person is not supposed to be learning the tasawwuf as well. It's about, there's supposed to be somewhat of a balance here, but the absolute minimum is fard ain. You need to know your absolute basics. God does not make someone from the men of God, the pious, except that he has to have an absolute basic knowledge of how to fast and how to give zakat and how to pray and perform the hajj and things like that. Now, you don't have to be a scholar. It's not incumbent that every single person becomes a scholar. You can learn your basics and then focus on your heart. You can become from those people who are close to God. But the absolute minimum is you learn fard ain, that knowledge which is individually incumbent upon you. Like, you can't fast if you don't know how to. It's just, apart from knowing, I need to close and break it at this time. No, you need to know what actually invalidates it, what are the preconditions of it, and things like that. Likewise, spiritually, you need to know as well that your fast might be correct from a fiqh point of view. You've stopped eating and drinking from sunrise to dawn to sunset, right, or sunrise, sunset, but you've backbited you have. So that fast in the sight of God, you're not going to get anything. All you've done is just gone hungry you have. So this is why it's extremely important to focus on both things. This is why Imam Ghazali over here begins off by talking about the external. What necessitates it, what invalidates it, what the important integrals of fasting and whatnot. And the first thing he mentions over here is intention. In the three schools, the Hanbali, the Shafi'i and the Hanafi school, you have to make intention every single night before the next fast. Okay? The Maliki school, if you make intention that you, on the first night, if you make intention of fasting for the entire month you have in the Maliki school, that's okay. And this is why the scholars encourage making the intention on the first night according to the Maliki school. Even though obviously you follow one school, but just so that it's correct according to the Maliki school. And this is why in a lot of Muslim countries, after the Maghrib prayer, they would make an announcement encouraging people to make the intention. Because it's possible you're going to go to sleep, you're not going to remember, you might get up, there's only a short time, you've not made the intention, or, la hawla wa la quwwata illa billah, is possible the next time you get up is Dhuhr time. So this is why you can make the intention straight after Maghrib has come in. And like we mentioned, we're reiterating this point again, that even if you eat and drink after that, it doesn't nullify the intention. The only thing that nullifies the intention is if you make another intention not to fast. This is important, right? Because often, I get this question a lot. I made the intention of fasting, qada. Qada in the Hanafi school, which I'm sure most of us are, not everyone here. The Hanafi school, for qada, you have to make the intention before Fajr comes in. If you make the intention once Fajr has come in, that's not qada. That's going to be counted. Qada is a make-up fast. Like if you didn't fast in Ramadan or you accidentally broke it or something, you have to make it up. It's called as a qada fast. As for a nafal fast, you can make up until the Dahwat al-Kubra. Again, we spoke about this last class. Roughly, Dahwat al-Kubra is about an hour before Dhuhr comes in. Approximately. I'm not giving this like as a set thing, right? Don't take it and say, no, he mentioned his class is 1 hour and I made the intent. No. I'm just saying approximately. Muwaqqit is a good website. You can go type in your location and it's mentioned here, Dahwat al-Kubra. And you can make the intention before Dahwat al-Kubra. You can only make the intention providing you haven't had anything to eat and drink since the time Fajr has come in. Obviously, you can't have a whole breakfast and then at the Dahwat al-Kubra say, I'm making intention of fasting now. Obviously not. Okay. So for qada is important. You have to make the fast before you sleep. Now, before Fajr comes in. So if a person went to sleep, he made intention to fast. Okay. Then he gets up at Fajr. He's like, I don't want to fast anymore. You can't. You've made the intention you have. As long as you've not made another intention to cancel it out, that's it. Once Fajr comes in, you're fasting now. Okay, now if you're not sure you are, shall I fast or not? You go to sleep, you wake up, Fajr's come in. As long as you haven't had anything to eat and drink, you can intend to fast still. These are all qada fast and nafal fast. As for the fard Ramadan fast, all three schools, you have until Fajr comes in. You have to make your intention then. Hanafi school, you have until just before Tahwatul Kubra, but it's obviously is encouraged that we also make the intention before Fajr comes in. Understood? This is getting a bit technical now, okay?
Just one question. Is it 1 day for 1 day?
Yeah. In the Hanafi school, the Shafi'i school, and the Hanbali school, it's one intention per day. Is today's fast, you make the intention, tomorrow's on, you make the intention. And this is why it's a good practice. I was hoping we could implement it here, but it's going to require a bit of explaining to people. Because we finished the Taraweeh prayer and tell everyone to make the fast, they're going to start having a fit. What do you mean? I'm going to have my suhoor now. No, I want to go home first. I want to drink tea. I want to have coffee. That's not what's meant by it. Eat and drink. We're just saying make the intention now. Eating and drinking doesn't cancel it out. So, people are not accustomed to it yet. I wanted to practice it here, but then, I think it's just going to require a whole commentary. So this is why the importance of studying and attending classes, right? You gain that knowledge. It's good to even implement at home. Encourage people as well. I think some, God bless, the elderly generation. If you told them that, they'd be like, nah. I'm not making my intention yet. I'm going to wait 10 minutes before Fajr. I'm going to have my dud patti, cha, milk tea, and then, rusk cake and everything, and then I'm going to make my intention. So it's not that you have to make the intention. It's better you make the intention now. And some scholars have even mentioned the earlier you make the intention, the angels are writing it down from then that you're fasting you, even though you're not. But because you made the intention, so I'll make the intention at 12 o'clock in the night. You make intention 4 o'clock, let's just say, right? From 12 o'clock, the angels have written it down that I've made my intention. So I'm benefiting still. I can eat and drink still. So, it's a win-win situation. It's just a lack of knowledge. So that's important. Intention, yeah. Then Imam Ghazali goes into a lot of detail over here, right? We're not gonna go into that. To be honest, a lot of this, it's important, but the most important and relevant stuff I've mentioned, okay? So I've differentiated between the fast of Ramadan and then the qada fast and the nafil one, okay? The important thing is just the qada ones, you have to make the intention before Fajr comes in. In the Shafi'i school, they're a bit strict. You have to intend that you're fasting the fard of Ramadan. You have to be specific. In the Hanafi school, even if you intend nafil in Ramadan, it counts. How come? First of all, why would someone even intend a nafil fast? Ramadan, you can't. It's fard to fast, is an obligation. Why would you intend a nafil? We're just, mashallah, fuqaha love this, right? Like their games, like people have entertainment. Their entertainment was just coming out with these, if someone did, and if this, and what's the program as well. MashaAllah is, you need to have a certain taste to appreciate this. But it's nice, it is. To be honest, if the fuqaha didn't do that, most of the things that happen in this day and age, right, we would have not had an answer for. But they mention some ajib stuff in fiqh books, man. Like if a jinn got married to a human, and then like the masail attached to that. And then they mention is some of the men of God gives them certain abilities, right? And they said, well, if he's flying in the sky, they actually mentioned this in the fiqh book. He's flying in the sky. And this is Dhuhr time. Can you pray up there or not? No. He has to come down and pray on the earth. But see, like, because then you start thinking, okay, well, aeroplanes as well and things like this, and you can then base it on masail like that. Like, this isn't like a good masala, but I'm just mentioning it because it's mentioned in fiqh books, right? Like breast milk. Obviously, back in the days, they had no way of storing it. Either you give it to the child or that's it, it's going to go off, right? Now it's a complete different thing. You can store breast milk for decades. So someone's breast milk, 50 years later, defrost it, give it to a child. Now there's ahkam there. That becomes his mahram. Wetness, yeah. And so this is the thing, like as in the fuqaha mentioned this. But back then, even between the mujtahids, they were debating this. Malik said, anyone who gives a fatwa on something that hasn't occurred, haram. He goes, no. He goes, why are we doing ijtihad on things that haven't happened yet? The Hanafi school, was known. They just sat there and just, mashallah, games, I guess, right? If this happened, then this is a ruling. If this happened, none of it actually happened. And this is why, alhamdulillah, most of the contemporary things we have, a lot of it is the nas is in the Hanafi school. So, anyways, here, getting back to what he's talking about here, right? In the Shafi'i school, you have to make the intention that you're performing the fard fast of Ramadan. Hanafi school, you don't have to. Even if you intended a nafal is counted as the fard is, but saying that is still better. Is always better to make this intention. And this is why on our Ramadan timetables as well, we've taken that into account as anyone that makes that specific intention that we've got on our timetables, inshallah, is correct according to all 4 schools. Okay, so we have taken that into account. Okay, then after that he goes on to mention a lot of things over here. All of this, the intention, ultimately, it's done in the heart. Okay, so even if you didn't articulate it, but you intended in your heart, it's counted. But it's preferred saying it on the tongue. Because most of the times you say on the heart, you start doubting later on, but did I intend or not? I'm not sure 100%. And this is why it's always preferred to articulate it as well. No way to, I intend to fast tomorrow's obligatory fast of the month of Ramadan purely for the sake of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. No. Then he goes on to say, so what invalidates a fast? Obviously, we fast before we refrain from eating and drinking and marital relations as well before Fajr comes in until sunset. Now, what invalidates it? Obviously, eating and drinking invalidates it. But we differentiate between eating and drinking forgetfully or eating and drinking by mistake or accident. So eating and drinking forgetfully, what does that mean? You forgot the fact that you're fasting you. So sometimes you know you're fasting and it's an accident. How? You're goggling you are. Or you're just, like you're, goggling, I guess, right? You know you're fasting, but accidentally it went back. You ended up, it went down a front. That's broken it. That's invalidated it, but you're not going to be sinful because of an accident. But it's invalidated it, you have to make it a qada. The second scenario you forgot is the first day. Most of the times this generally happens on the first day or two, right? Because you're not mentally accustomed to it. Most people are not, unfortunately. They just fast in Ramadan only. So first day, you've had suhoor, went to sleep, got up. You got up, you forgot you were fasting, went downstairs, put the coffee machine on for the coffee lovers out there, or the Pakistanis love the milk char, right? So as in, whatever. You sit down, mashallah, you have toast, coffee, whatever. Only then you remember I was fasting hours. That does not invalidate it. That does not invalidate, even though, tabarakallah, mashallah, you've eaten quite a bit, you have, doesn't. Okay, why? Because you forgot the fact that you're even fasting. Okay, but if you remembered your fasting accident, that breaks it. Now, technically speaking, the thing that breaks the fast is if something enters into your stomach directly or into your head. In the directly, it doesn't invalidate it. Now, you know how people have diabetes, right? Most of them take insulin injections, right? That doesn't invalidate it because that's not directly going into the stomach. I mean, the syringe is not ever going to be that long way. It's going all the way in. It's going into your body, but it's not going directly into your stomach. Likewise, nicotine patches and things like this. It's haram still. Smoking, all four schools haram. Okay. There was a time that the scholars debated it. I'm just mentioning this, right? Because I know, you know how people get touchy over this stuff, right? Nafs at the end of the day. If you're committing haram, admit it. There's a chance you're going to do tawbah. But when you convince yourself, no, I'm not, you've closed the door of tawbah, you're going to no. Admit, okay, you're watching films, you're doing, things that are not allowed. I'm not saying boast about it, tell people, yeah, I'm committing, no. But recognize that there's a problem there. There's shortcoming, there's a problem, I'm doing it, okay. Then there's the road to recovery. But the fact that you're not even admitting it, and then you start coming out and saying, no, there's an opinion, this person. If you want to go down that road, there's an opinion that will allow you to commit every haram in the book, you're not going to be following a religion then. You're just following your nafsiyah. But it's important to understand how fiqh works. When nicotine was first discovered, the scholars didn't, when coffee was first discovered, it took a long time until the scholars unanimously gave the fatwa that is jaiz. When it first was discovered, there was scholars that were saying haram. Why? Because they didn't know what it was. Some people thought it was an intoxicant. People are getting high of it. You're tired, you're sluggish, you drink coffee and you're a lot more alert now. So the scholars, when they first discovered that, they go, okay, there's a problem here. Are they getting high? So you understand, like, it took time. Obviously, coffee is perfectly okay. But I'm just getting to a point. So when nicotine and tobacco was first, right, the scholars debated it. Some of them said is, disliked slightly, because they didn't know, like, okay, it's got a bad smell to it. That's about it. They didn't really know there was anything behind it. Now, in this day and age, there's come on overwhelming evidence that is detrimental to your health. It kills you off. Kaza, right? Everyone is in agreement, haram. The only thing is the Hanafi scholars, they were quite strict with the terms. Like, they wanted to refer to certain things which are absolutely 100% agreed upon. But because tobacco, nicotine back then, it was 50, they just refer it to as makruh tahrimi. But makruh tahrimi in the Hanafi school is pretty much haram. Yeah. Is like extremely offensive. But they just differentiate. It's a technical difference. They're just fearful of calling it haram because it's not mentioned explicitly in the Book of God. As in, it's a technical difference. But smoking is haram. There's no different opinion on that. So nicotine patches, you're not inhaling it, so it doesn't break your, technically speaking, you're not inhaling it, so it's not going to break it. But the nicotine patch is not going directly into your stomach, it's going to your body. The act is haram. It's a bit like, okay, what shall I say? If you punch someone while you're fasting, does it invalidate your fast? Obviously not. Why did you take his skin off and eat it? No, you just punched him. It's not going to break your fast, but you've still committed haram. Understand now, right? So here the nicotine patch, haram, but it doesn't invalidate it. On that note as well, important things. Inhaling smoke invalidates it. Okay, now if you intentionally, so if you're going on the street now, it's difficult, there's car pollution out there and whatnot. That's obviously hard. There was a fire early on in Bury Park as well, so there's a lot of smoke. That's quite hard now, right? So in a situation like that, if you did inhale, that doesn't break it. But if you put spray on, breaks the fast. Unless you're going to start playing games. You put spray and then start running around, so like, come on, that doesn't make sense. Just put like I don't wear sprays. I have natural stuff, right? Because they're all toxic. They are, and you just put down but sprays is a problem. Spray is a problem while you're fasting. Oud is a problem while you're fasting as well. Incense. That's just games now, isn't it? Yeah, technically, It's not when you're cooking as well, you need to be careful of that. Barbecue. Bury pork does like barbecues now. Not just bury pork. A lot of places here, right? Smoke is a lot. While they're doing the barbecue, they're like suffocating in it, or just then validates it. So eye drops in the Hanafi school doesn't break it, because it's a established hadith that Sayyidah Aisha said the Prophet was fasting and wore kuhl. And kuhl, anyone that knows the taste of it comes on your mouth, right? Like any type of ointment or something like that, but kuhl, especially, you can actually spit it out when you put it in your eyes as well. I don't know if anyone's tested it or not. So based on that, it doesn't. But most of the contemporary Hanafi scholars, they go with the opinion it does. Why is that? Because they say when you put the eye drops in, you can taste it. It literally comes down to the back of your throat and will go down. So, but I'm not with the contemporary scholars on this. The Prophet was fasting and he wore kuhl. You can't get it as clear as that. It's either modern medicine or it's the words or actions of the Prophet. The Prophet didn't know that. God taught him all knowledge, right? So, like, he used to wear kuhl. It definitely goes down. It does. Kuhl doesn't, and likewise ointment as well. What else is important to take into account? Hijama doesn't break the cupping. Is makruh. You're not meant to cup, blood cupping, right? Cupping, right? It doesn't break the fast, but it's makruh. Why is it makruh? Why is it disliked for? Taking blood out while you're fasting is going to drain you. You know, you might know you won't be able to complete off. You understand? So as in, blood tests is makruh to take them or have them while you're fasting. If you can postpone it until after, or if you know it's just going to be a small amount and it's not going to cause me much issues. But I mean, think about it. You're fasting for long hours. They're going to take some blood out. You might get light-headed, dizzy afterwards as well. So it's makruh. And engaging in any action that's going to tire your body out. So if you know, like, oh, my friends called me to a football match there, that's not really something you're supposed to be doing while you're fasting. You have 11 months to kick the ball around, but tabarakallah, mashallah, you've found Ramadan too. Quran, ainahu.
What if it's necessity? You have to carry a 20k box up a road, let's say.
If it's like necessity type of thing, then it's out of your control. We're talking about here like it's optional. You understand? Like, you can do that anytime. If you can postpone it after you open your fast, yeah. Also, it's makruh to gargle your mouth. Like when you're doing ablution, just kind of pass in your mouth only. Don't start proper gargling it. Then you're going to come and say, I broke my fast. The only thing can give you after is guff, as the scholars say. That means backhand. Yeah, so like sometimes people are asking for it, or like, come on, you're not supposed to be doing certain things, huh? Okay, what does he say after that?
Does inhaling smoke
No. I'm obviously most, or if not all of the times when I'm talking from a Hanafi point of view, okay? That's obviously the school of thought that I follow and teach. In the Shafi school, which I have, alhamdulillah, studied it, inhaling smoke doesn't break it. Okay, but smoking breaks it. Yeah, I'm not sure. I don't know if they just mean normal, like non-haram substances.
Is there anything to do with like alcohol and stuff that people burn?
Bakhur is obviously is the prophetic practice, and its medicinal purposes is known. Like that's the one smoke that you can actually it's actually good to actually take it in, smoke it, basically.
Is it break fast?
Pure stuff, huh?
Does it break fast?
I'm talking about the pure stuff, by the way, not this fake stuff that they add. That stuff's going to kill you. Don't smoke that. Here, mashallah, here, the brothers have, pure chips over here. This is actually good too. And yes, smoking though, the Hanafi school has a difference of opinion if you have to make qada or kafara. Kafara is 60 consecutive days that you have to fast for. So if you're fasting and you smoke, and the fatwa that we've taken from our teachers is 60 consecutive. So if you fasted 59 days, left a day out, you have to start again. La ilaha illallah. And this is why they mentioned is makruh, the schools of fiqh will differ on this, right? But especially where I come from, the Habaib, they consider it makruh to get your nikah done in Ramadan or a month before as well, because the likelihood of obviously new couples as well and whatnot, right? Like I know, like people have come up to me, asked me fiqh questions. 60 days kafara, man. That's why, because the cut off time that they normally get people married in Tareem is Rajab, and even then is barely, just literally like a couple of people only. Why Rajab is Sha'ban and then Ramadan after that? The likelihood that you're gonna do something which is gonna invalidate it is a strong likelihood. Sayyidah Aisha mentioned in the Muwatta, she used to get all her companions married in Shawwal time. She goes, the Prophet ﷺ got married to me in that month. So that's like a recommended month is. Now, obviously, if you can't, then don't wait until next Shawwal time. You just get your nikah, but that's a preferred time it is. Now, if a person gets his nikah done in Ramadan, but actually lives with his wife or husband afterwards, that's still better. But there's no specific recommendation. It's not like, the Prophet encouraged us to get married in Ramadan. If anything, it's not preferred. I know a lot of people say, no, it is, you're getting more reward. Come back to me in 10 days' time, innit? Then we see if you're going to do 60 kafarat or not.
Is consummation crucial to make a marriage legal?
No.
Okay.
No.
It's not yet.
Yeah, so The nikah is ultimately the,
Only.
yeah. Like both people have become halal for each other now. They can talk to each other, be alone with each other. Other than that, obviously, free mixing is haram in Islam, like without necessity. And being alone with a girl or the opposite gender, that's extremely sinful. So he says over here, is there anything else important? He says, no. So marital relations as well, that's obviously known. Imam Ghazali mentioned something I definitely want to touch upon this, even though it's not everything in fiqh is appropriate, but someone has to talk about it. Modesty is extremely important in Islam, but there's times obviously you have to definitely have awkward, conversations, right? So he talks about masturbation here, right? Masturbating while you're fasting. Now, astaghfirullah, just 2 nights ago, someone showed me a fatwa. La ilaha illallah, this is the end of times, right? Someone gave a fatwa that if you masturbate while you're fasting, it doesn't break it. There's no school on the face of the earth, right? If marital relations isn't jaiz, how's masturbating, the Prophet cursed anyways. He goes, cursed is the one that marries his hand. Analogy of, like masturbating, right? So it's an extremely sinful act, is looked down upon, and especially while you're fasting, it definitely breaks it. Yes, you don't have to do a 60-day kafara. That's the only thing, right? But it's extreme, is haram, 100%, all schools. Then on top of that, it breaks your fast as well. Astaghfirullah. So this is haram, and it breaks it. Now, hugging one's spouse while they're fasting doesn't break the fast. Kissing, if it's like kiss without anything else, then it doesn't. But it's makruh still. It's makruh. Why? Because obviously, most of the time one thing leads to another, right? So it's important, especially for new couples as well. It's important to stay away from this. They would even encourage new couples. What's meant by new couples is not a month or two ago, even like a couple of years or so. Some of the scholars encourage that while they're fasting, not to sleep in the same beds, just out of fear of having to do a 60-day kafara. And there's no way out. Don't say, don't worry about it, I'm going to pay for it. No, there's no way you can pay for it. If slaves, we're going to get a slave from now. So the only way out is you have to do a 60-day non-stop fast.
Is there a substitution for the kafara, something with the slave?
Yeah, but
It's not really applicable.
no, it's not. Because the first thing is you buy a slave and something, free, but exactly. You can't just lock one of the brothers up and say, look, he's my slave, I'm setting him free or something. It doesn't work like that. The next thing is vomiting. I think time's up. Yeah, time's up. I will stop there, inshallah, until next class. Wednesday tomorrow, right? Yeah. حبيبي من تنا أدنى صالح في خير الله في الفاتحة ولا حضرة النبي Fatiha. أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم. بسم الله.